I won't just survive. Oh, you will see me thrive. Can write my story. I'm beyond archetype. I won't just conform. No matter how you shake my core. 'Cause my roots, they run deep. Oh, you have so little faith. Don't doubt it, don't doubt it. Victory is in my veins. I know it, I know it. And
my name's Sean Murphy. We're gonna get started here in
I'll
about another
fight
minute
it,
or so.
I'll fight it. I will transform.
Put your attention journals and let's get ready to get started to break this addiction.
When the fire's at my feet again, and the vultures all start circling, they're whispering.
All right. Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Awakening Your Authentic Self. My name is Sean Murphy. I'll tell you a little bit about me. But before I do that, my conversation with you is this. Are you ready to have more of what you want and less of what you don't? That's the key. I want you to pay attention to that because we all do goals and we all do strategies and we all do stories and we all do efforting and we all do struggling. What if struggling wasn't the struggle anymore? What if the effort wasn't the effort anymore? What if we truly began to live our passion, live our desire, live our highest and best self? See, if you've ever had a goal before and you've ever had the idea of it, the challenge is here's what we're going to work on today, is we're going to work on understanding that your brain needs an upgrade. And your brain needs an upgrade in its hardware, not its software. And the way we upgrade the brain in its hardware to overcome addiction to approval is literally by physiology. Physiology, focus, language, and movement. If you've ever been to a UPW or anything Tony Robbins, he talks about the physiology. If you want to cement something in, if you want to break a pattern, if you want to get absolutely locked into your focus, it's physiology. It's physiology to break. It's physiology to remember. It's physiology. It's physiology. It's physiology. Say it with me. Physiology. Hope I'm saying it right. It's a big word for me. I'm a farm boy from Ohio. And so my point is that this physiology, understanding the movement of the body, understanding how the move, right? Jim Quick says, as the brain grooves, the body moves. And as the body moves, the brain grooves. As we go through this awakening your authentic self, and as we go through this opportunity for you to learn why you get stuck, it's going to be some of your habitual actions that take place in your body. So I want you to just take a survey right now. Listen carefully to my conversation with you. How many of you, drop a 1 in the chat if you would like to create more income? Just drop a 1 in the chat. Play along with me. Follow along with me. I got to put my glasses on so I can read this stuff. So we got some ones going in there. Oh, there's Sienna. Hey, Sienna. You can tell this is live because if it wasn't, we'd have edited that out, right? So we got ones. You want more money. You want more income. How many of you want better relationships? Drop a 1 in the chat. How many of you want better relationships? Drop a 1 in the chat. How many of you would love to have your society and your family be better around you? Have it more loving and caring? Drop a 1 in the chat. Now, let me ask you this. If all of those things happen, here's the part, pay attention. Here's the part, pay attention. If all of those things were true right now, would your body be sitting differently? Would the energy in your body be different if you had all the money that you desired to have? If you wanted to have your 6-figure income, you were at 100,000, and here we are, the 5th of the month, and you're already 20%. You got 20K of your money coming in already. Would you be sitting differently? Would your body feel differently? See, my question to you is this: if you were at your ultimate goal right now, would you be sitting differently? Would you be moving differently? Here's my point. If the law of attraction and gratitude, which we're going to touch on these two things, if the law of attraction and gratitude says, I'm going to bring you exactly the way you're feeling. Check your body right now, ladies and gentlemen. If your body's not in the state of gratitude of the goal you want, congratulations, where you're at, it's your thought. Also, it's your fault. You have been given the gift of being able to control your mind, to be able to put the thoughts into it that you want, to be able to have the conversations with yourself that you want. Is this making sense? This is addiction to approval. This is the addiction to the approval of the old story. This doesn't always have to happen outside of you. It doesn't always have to happen outside of who you are and who you think you are and who you see you are. See, there's a lot of you that don't have your cameras on because maybe you don't look good, or you didn't feel good, or you're not having this good thing and you're not sure, and maybe your background is crappy, or maybe the cat's running around. You're not showing up. Listen, I'm okay. I've got my camera on. Could you imagine if I did the video? Here's what I'm going to do. Here's my addiction to approval. The heck with you, and I'm just going to talk to you. How many of you would just absolutely bug out of this thing if I didn't have my camera on? Well, you're the one doing the training, Sean. Why don't you have your camera on? Well, why do I need my camera on? You don't have yours on. You don't want to engage. I'm not saying to not to, but this is addiction to approval. And some of you just turned your camera on because I made you feel bad. And I'm sorry. I don't want you to feel bad. Hi, Sienna. How are you? It's good to see you. You rock star, you. Y'all need to follow her on Instagram. She's amazing. So all that being said, my point is this. Pay attention to how these hit in your body. See, addiction to approval isn't always outside of you, isn't always up here, isn't in your toes and your fingertips. It's in your body. Adrian's fixing her hair. Thank you, Adrian. You didn't need to fix your hair, you rock star, you. All I need to see is that beautiful smile. There you go. Oh my God, he's watching me. I got to get all dressed up for Sean. You didn't have to get dressed up for me. I want you to show up for you. You follow me? So I have a very special guest. Give me thumbs up if you're ready, Amber. Okay, cool. Here we go. So how many of you, drop a 1 if you've heard it, and 2 if you've not heard this, called Psyche? Jesse, how are you? Good to see you, Jesse. Woohoo! Is Jesse in the same office as Amber? Because that looks like Amber's office. Is it? No kidding. Man, who am I? I'm a rock star. I pay attention, baby. So how many of you, drop a 1 if you've heard of Psyche? It's a body and brain connection. And 2 if you've not heard of Psyche. 1 if you've heard of it, and 2 if you've not. So I'm looking at it. Yes, 1 thanks to Amber, 2. So here's my point. Amber is not only a trained specialist in Psyche and continue her advancement and progression in the understanding of body-mind relationship. For 14 years, she's been in the study of human potential. And in this study of human potential, she's created a community of where wellness lives here. I'm going to ask you to point to where wellness lives for you. Point to where wellness lives. Watch this. Point to where wellness lives in you. Okay, now, the ladies who pointed up here, I've got some connections for you. We're going to have some conversations. Because some pointed here, right? Some pointed here. What's here? Your heart. And some pointed here. Part of what you shared with me when you pointed here is that there's some added opportunities for us to fall in love with each other from here. Is that okay? Not if this is okay and say, you can listen. Can you all see where the red button that says leave is? You can all see where the red button is that says leave, right? So you all have the ability to A, turn your camera off, and B, leave. I don't want you to, but I want to give you the power and the authority to do that. So that being said, we're going to learn some movements and some understandings and some conversations. So I want to welcome to my stage for the very first time. I want to welcome Amber Swally-Kinnick, and I want her to have a little time with you to explain some of the benefits of body movement and the understanding of body, mind, brain, mind connection. Because I'm not 100% all of what she's going to do, because some of it was over my head. And so I'm just going to let her have a conversation with you. So please welcome to the mental prophet stage, awakening your authentic self, Amber Koenig.
Thank you. Ooh, that gets you fired up, talking about changing physiology. Can everyone hear me okay? Fantastic. I love how Sean just said that I've been in this study of human potential for 14 years. I'm not sure where the 14 years came in, because that's how long I've been married. So I think somewhere in our conversation, I've been in the natural health world for 30 years, and I've been married for 14 years studying human potential, being married and having a family. So today I wanted to come and talk to you about how body movements affect our state. Some of you, this is your first time being on a call with Sean, being in any type of setting like this with Sean. So you don't know what to expect, and you might be nervous a little bit. And then you turned on your camera and now there might be more nerves. And some of you, you've been with Sean way longer than I have, and we never quite know what's going to happen. And now we're talking about addiction to approval. So what is he going to do? So some people's bodies might be doing some things. You might be feeling something in your chest. You might be feeling something in your stomach. So I want to start out. Okay, this is actually more for my benefit than for yours. This is called the crossover. And this isn't specific to Psyche. We use this in some of the balances that we do. This is something that you can do anytime, this little piece of it. So go ahead, for anyone who can, who isn't driving, unless you're really talented, go ahead and cross your right ankle over your left ankle, or your left ankle over your right ankle, whatever feels good to you. Oh, Sean just fell. You okay? We lost you.
I thought I had to do them both at the same time. I was trying
How
to
did
do
that,
the river
how did
dance.
that work for you? Change your
River dance don't
physiology?
work.
Okay, and then you're gonna put one wrist over the other. Whatever feels right. Ooh, okay. And now turn your palms together, interlace your fingers, and drop that down in your lap. Or if it's more comfortable, you can roll it up and almost give yourself a hug. So what we're doing in this moment is with the cross, Sean standing. You can do this standing. So this is another reason that I want to show you this. If you're in a situation where there's any type of anxiety or fear or panic or too much excitement, this is a really good one for kids as well. If there's too much excitement, or for Sean, if there's too much excitement, kids or Sean, we're crossing the corpus callosum in the brain. So anytime that you have cross body, I was just doing that. You don't have to stretch your arms out. We're getting into a whole brain state. So brain dominance theory, left brain, right? We've all heard, oh, I'm more left brain, I'm more right brain. Well, we have both sides. We do have both sides. And the programming of what we're supposed to be, or where someone thought we fit into, can influence that. What if in a situation where you're having some fear, anxiety, uncomfortableness, instead of operating out of, let's say, just the left side of the brain, which is typically, not typically, it is, that analytical side, the more mathematical, I talk with my hands, and this is really difficult for me to sit like this and not be talking with my hands. Or the right side of the brain, which is the more emotional, the more feminine. What if in those situations we could cross the corpus callosum and get your body in a whole brain state? And now breathe. Breathing is also important. So you can go ahead and uncross. So that's my first tip for you when it comes to changing physiology, changing state, is being able to go into that cross body, whole body, cross body position. So why are we even doing this? I am going to give you a little tip. I have some notes, because if I don't have notes, it's all of a sudden going to be 1 p.m. Central Time, and Sean's not going to have talked, and we're not going to be blessed with hearing Daniela about gratitude, and you won't be grateful for me because you'll miss out on that. So you are going to see me looking at some notes to keep me on track, because wow, that's already been 5 minutes. All right, so ways that body movements can affect our emotional state. That body-brain connection, we just touched on that a little bit. Stress reduction, we just touched on that a little bit as well. So anyone who likes to exercise, and those of us that it's not our favorite thing to do, most of us can agree that there is stress reduction when we move our body. Body language, right? So if everyone will be all in, play all in with me today, everyone just slouch, and just make that face like you're one of my 4 boys that don't want to do the dishes, and right? Ugh. You see people like this, right? How do you feel? How are other people gonna, right? Like, okay, this is just, I'm gonna do the rest of my talk with you like this. Okay, now sit up, smile, get your shoulders back. We just feel different. Our body language, how we interact with people, how people see us. Very, very important. Expressive movements fits right into that with body language. Mirror neurons, which we won't get too sciencey, unless you want to get sciencey. I love sciencey. So they're actual neurons in the brain that mimic the people that we see and what they're doing. And look at, there's the mirror. So anyone on this call that has kids, anyone on this call that's ever been around kids, we can all agree that there are times when they're not the happiest, might even go all the way over to a tantrum. As a parent, just going into that situation, guns blazing, matching their tantrum, how effective is that? And no judgment here, because I'm working on that. Still going with guns blazing at times. If we're able to go in calm, totally deflect, you'll hear Sean talk about, I don't even remember the word. I just know how to do it. So when we distract and get people to think about something totally different, and you ask them like what time it is, if I were to go in and Jordan, he's 6, is he 6? Oh, he's 6 now. And I would say, what time is it when he's having his tantrum or doing his thing? It would confuse him. It would make him get out of that state. So being able to be the mirror for what we want to see. So going in calm and confident, you will start to notice, now that I brought your awareness there, you will start to notice that people start to mirror you. I love that one. That one's fun just to play with. Self-expression and empowerment. Just sitting up straight and having that feeling of empowerment will change your state. When you have a dance party, I might have dance parties at my house. When you have a dance party and you're confident in your dancing, it's way more fun. Okay. So now we are going to do another physical movement that is going to help change state. And I'm guessing that this is going to be one that is a little familiar to some of you. We're going to do this Psyche style. I forgot my earbuds, so I'm hoping that you're all still going to be able to hear me when I stand up. So I need everyone to stand up, unless you're driving. Even if your camera's off, stand up with us. And this is something called cross crawls. So if you're not familiar with cross crawls, just let me know if I'm too loud or not loud enough as I'm yelling across the room. Okay, perfect. So arms straight out to your sides. And you're going to be taking your right hand and putting it on your left knee. And then go back up. So if you can stay standing up tall and bring your knee to your hands. And you're just going to be, how can I do this better? All right. So this is cross crawls. Again, we're crossing the body So we're getting into a whole brain state. And now here's the, you guys keep going. Here, addiction to approval. I know I stopped. You all have to keep going. The psyche difference is now I'm going to have you access the different hemispheres of your brain. And how we're going to do that is with your eyes. So with your head and your face still facing forward, just move your eyes up and to the right. If you fall over, it's okay. So what we're doing now is we are accessing the left hemisphere of the brain. You go, Michael. That's awesome. So now just with your eyes, look up and to the left. So now we're accessing the right hemisphere of the brain. Well, you guys are amazing. Okay, that's good. So one tip that you can use this is if you have an intention, if you have a goal, if you have a limiting belief that pops up in your day, if you have an awareness of approval to addiction, as we go through this together for the next 3 days, and Sean gives us these tips, as Daniela speaks to gratitude and how that changes, if in that you uncover a limiting belief, oh, I can't do that because, oh yeah, I try that and then it always goes back to this. Your intention of shifting that limiting belief and going ahead and doing those cross crawls is going to help to start rewire, to start revamp at a subconscious level, that limiting belief, which I love. All right, the one I'm going to leave you with, one more physical movement to affect our state. And this actually comes from Donna Eden. I love doing her energy work. And this is called the 3 thumps. So we are going to start, let's see, everyone can find their collarbones. You have 2, one on the left, one on the right. And we're going to tap. And if you use more than one finger, you don't have to really worry about if you're right on it. So we're going to tap right under the corner of the collarbone. So right here and just below it. As we breathe, do this for about 15 seconds. So this is the first thump. This is opening up meridians. It's opening up that energetic system. If you don't know what a meridian is, when I first heard about it, I thought it was some voodoo thing. It's not. It's the energetic system in your body. So now we're going to move on to the second thump. And this one is so much fun. And my boys love this one because you get to be Tarzan. So this is the thymus. We're going to thump the thymus. And the thymus has a lot to do with your immune system. So just like, here we go, addiction to approval. I want to see the best Tarzan. And Michael, you can absolutely make the noise. There you go. My boys love this one so much. I mean, you don't have to bruise yourself. So if you feel like a cold coming on or something's not right in your body, doing this thymus thump not only opens up the energetic system, it gets your immune system going. So that's a great one. The last thump of the 3 thumps is the spleen points, which is also important for the immune system. So I'm wondering, does anyone else think that maybe our physical immune system has something to do with our energetic system and state? Something to ponder. All right, so the spleen points, we're going to find, I'm going to kind of do a squat here. So your rib cage is here. There's that point on your rib cage. I should have like I'm going to get one of those shirts made that has the anatomy on it when I do this next time. So go right to where that point is on the rib cage, that it comes up to a point, and that's where you're going to tap. Again, for about 15 seconds, and we're going to breathe. And as we finish this up, I'm going to leave you with a story about this girl that I know who was going to teach on a call with a mentor that she really, really admired, who has really helped change her life. And he asked her to speak on a call. And she was really, really, really nervous before it started. Actually thought she was going to throw up. And she went through these movements and her body calmed. She was able to think and hopefully was able to share tips and tricks to an amazing audience out there. So spoiler alert, yep, that was me. All right, so those are my tips and tricks. I'm going to get illustrations for all of you for all of these so that you'll be able to have that with you going forward. And I get to bring something to you tomorrow and Friday as well. So there you are.
Wow, Amber, thank you. How about a big round of applause for Amber? Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was awesome. Woo-hoo! Listen, how many of you feel that you're in a different state right now? How many of you feel you're in a different state right now? Raise your hand. Here's the thing. State over strategy. And that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be doing state over strategy. When we talk about crossing the corpus callosum, when we talk about the reason that we fold our arms, how many of us have ever folded our arms when we get frustrated, like, ugh, or when we're thinking, we go like this? We're trying to access both parts of the brain. And just like anytime we learn something, we are either going to receive it or completely reject it. Does that make sense? So if we cross our arms while we're thinking, sometimes we cross our arms and we go, and we're like, man, we have to slow down our brain to think. Other times when somebody says, I think that I have the best program in the world, and we go, oh, really? We cross the corpus callosum, and when we do that, we literally access both of the brains for reception or for denial. And what typically happens is that we have this thing called addiction to approval. And this addiction to approval that happens causes us to be in a challenging state that forces us to not pick up the nugget that we want to learn. So, Amber, thank you for unlocking that. Thank you for showing us that. And I can't wait for tomorrow and Friday to hear more of the things that you're going to share. Again, throw up some hearts and some love for Amber, and appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So, how many of you learned something this morning already? How many? Listen, here's what I want you to do. In the chat, hey, Bakumi from the UK, good to have you here. One of the things I want you to do is in the chat, is in this idea, I want you to, when you feel something hit you, when you feel something awaken you, when you feel something say that, you know what, I've got this idea and I got this nugget and I got my worth out of this event so far. So whenever you reach a point to where you feel you've gotten the value out of this event, I want you to type in the chat or even just unmute yourself and just say bonus time. So just mouth it and while you're sitting there, just say bonus time. I want to see if you can all say it. Bonus time. I like that. I see everybody going bonus time. Excellent. So here's my point. I want you to pay attention. The other thing is many of you are leaders. Many of you are leaders and wanting feedback. How many of you worry about, is my training good enough? Is this presentation good enough? How many of you worry about that? So here's the thing. Guess what you're going to get to tell your audience next time? I want you to be able to tell your audiences, listen, while we're doing, Sienna does these interviews that are amazing. So when she does the interview, she gets to tell her audience, listen, at some point between the dialogue that I'm about to have with somebody, if you feel you're getting the value out of this interview for the time, because we're not paying, I can't pay you for your time. You're giving me the most precious resource. I want you to say bonus time. Just type in the chat bonus time. And what it does for all of you that are leaders and influencers, it causes people to set the stage to look for the thing that makes sense. Does that make sense? We're actually activating the reticular activating system. And this is what happens. So when we talk about approval to addiction, our reticular activating system is completely activated to be rejected. And guess if we're activated to be rejected, guess what our body is looking for? The way to be rejected, right? when Adrienne came on and she was fixing her hair because she didn't want to be late to have her camera on. So she put her camera on and she was fixing her hair and putting it back, going, I got to put my hair back. Okay, I'll do it and turn on my camera. She was doing it and she's got these guts that say, I'll do it. I'll show up while I'm fixing me. Y'all get that? How many of you are willing to show up while you're fixing you? See, this is an understanding that says, I'm valuable to me. Y'all say that to yourself. I'm valuable to me. We always talk about how do I become successful? And you'll hear phrases, and I even use the phrase, become valuable to valuable people. That's how you get a seat at the table. Everybody's like, how do I get a seat at the table? Become valuable to valuable people. The people that you value may be the people that I value different than me. So now the question becomes this. If my addiction to approval is what keeps me stuck. Bob Proctor said to me one time, he was a personal mentor of mine and my bride's 22 years ago. He said, if you're going to worry about something, put this in your little hat and let it run around and feed the squirrels. He said, if you're going to worry about something, worry about being too rich. If you're going to worry about something, worry about being too skinny. See, if the thoughts and the law of attraction, everything that we know about is all true, and it comes true on a regular basis because your thought, listen, do you realize, I'm going to lean in here. Not that it's going to change the sound any, but I really want to see you. Do you realize what got you here? What got you here? I want you to think about it. There's only one thing that got you here, and it's your brain. And so many people work out their bodies, they don't work out their brain. How many of you know that, if you're getting older, you should do Sudoku? I don't even know what Sudoku is. I don't think I know it's things, a page with numbers on it. And my brain just locks up going, math vertically and horizontally, all on the same page. Are you kidding me? So your brain, what I'm going to work on today and over the course of the next 2 days is your brain. Addiction to approval is a philosophy. And some of you are addicted to the approval. How many of you are moms? How many of you are addicted to the approval of your children? You say the words, I wonder if I'm enough. You gave birth to them. I think they got a pretty good start on this planet. You gave birth to them. And most of the days they make it to the end of the day and they're still alive. Not a bad deal. My point is that this philosophy of being stuck and being pushed and you do things for yourself and it's selfish instead of self-full. We're not going to undo the responsibilities. We're going to unlock the possibilities. Does that make sense? We're not going to undo the responsibilities. We're going to unlock the possibilities. And that's what addiction to approval does. It gives us a chance to have more possibilities. Now, if we have more possibilities, what are we now faced with? More choices. And what Amber taught us and what Daniela is about to walk us through in gratitude sets the stage for why our addiction is so strong. Because when we have possibilities, we have choices. Right here, the choice you make from this moment going forward, will it have an effect a year from now? The answer is yes, whether it's a small degree or a huge degree. If all of a sudden because you did this, everybody do this again. Let's see if you can practice what, just do this and bring it up. And I want you to ask yourself the question, am I okay to have more? How would you typically answer that question? Do you hear the question being asked differently because you've activated both sides of your brain? Is it okay if I have more? What's your response? What's your response to that? See, the simple things like this that change the way we look at things. I'll show you one more thing, one more little body movement that Amber taught me. I heard this a while ago. She reminded me of the value of it. I just want you to maintain, just check your breathing. Just check your breathing real quick. We're not asking extra breathing or short breathing or big breathing or just regular breathing. Now I want you to take your hands and I want you to just put them out. And I want you to turn them up. And I want you to check your breathing. Just check your lungs, check your chest, check your breathing, turn them over. Take a couple of breaths, palms down. Couple of breaths, turn them back over, palms up. Did you feel anything in your body? Drop a 1 in the chat if you felt anything in your body. This is what yoga is about. Yoga is about becoming one with you. It's not about stretching and doing hot Bikram in a sweaty salon with 6 other people who you don't know. Yoga is about you becoming one with you. And in understanding that, this idea, this concept, this conversation that you have about your addiction to approval is not about eliminating it, because you don't want to eliminate it. It's like fear. How many of us know people who are fearless and you're like, oh my God, they're going to kill themselves? Not having an addiction to approval, we just need to tone it down some. Because this is what makes you get up faster than the other person who falls down in a race. This is what makes you do one more call. This is what makes you want one more person on your team to reach 5 figures. This is what pushes you to spend the midnight hours. How many of you have been up past midnight working on yourself? This is what will make you get a better sleep when you do that. Does that make sense? So, Daniela, excuse me, Daniela, are you ready to jump in and do some gratitude training here real quick? She's probably, she might still be fixing her hair. She called me earlier and she said, our hot water went out and they just came this morning to fix it. And I don't know if she had time to do all of the things that women would want to do when you have hot water back in your house, but we're working on it. So I'm going to wait for her. Soon as she turns her camera on or hits me with a message, we'll go there. So what does gratitude have to do with addiction to approval? How many of you, when you worry about a party or worry about a prospect or worry about your presentation, how many of you are in absolute gratitude when you're in worry? Not gonna happen. How many of you, when your little ones are standing in the store going, you never buy me anything, are in complete gratitude for their voice? Oh my God, your screaming sounds so beautiful to me. I've never heard that tantrum like that. That's just so gorgeous. I love you. Probably not going through your head. Gratitude is one of the most powerful parts that requires us to sit in such a state that it's already done, which is why the physiology can help you get into gratitude. Gratitude helps the physiology. That's why I have these 2 amazing souls to help teach this. Because I can teach you all of the words. I've been teaching gratitude and I've been teaching addiction to approval for decades. I haven't quite scratched the surface on helping people undo their addiction to approval. So I know that I need more resources in this battle against fear and doubt. And gratitude is one of the biggest opportunities for us to begin to allow the body to move so the brain will groove. And the record you want playing in the brain is gratitude. So please help me welcome to the stage a very dear friend, done over 700 conversations, 700 live Zooms, over 700 live Zooms on gratitude, has done some gratitude summits, and I've been blessed to be a part of them. And now I get to welcome her to the stage, kind of first time for me, welcoming her to the Mental Profits stage. Please welcome to the Awakening Your Authentic Self, Daniela Jukic. Woohoo!
Hi, Sean. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thanks, Sean. I mean, way to make me nervous. 700 and some episodes. I'm like, this is my first. This is my first being on Sean's stage, and I'm a little nervous, so I'm going to admit that right off bat. I did call him earlier, and I was like, just anxiety, and excitement, have the same feeling, because that's what I'm feeling right now. So I am here. So thank you, Sean. Thank you. I prepared this whole entire spiel for you guys. And for a moment, I was sitting here and I go, I don't want to do that. I want to give you the raw aspect of gratitude. And drop a 1 in the chat if you believe that you're a grateful person. I love all these ones. Now I'm going to hit you with something. Are you grateful in all circumstances? Drop a 2 in the chat. So the reason I asked this is because 4 years ago, when I got on this journey of searching for myself and really trying to define what gratitude means. And when I started off, I was like, I'm a grateful person. You know, I say thank you. I hold doors for people. I make sure that I'm always polite, especially to my elders, right? I'm like, or my mom's going to be kicking my behind if I'm not. And when I started diving into Rhonda Byrne's book, The Magic, I found out that I might have not been so grateful. And the reason I go into this first is because it's the major part about gratitude is being able to find the blessings behind the ugly, you know, when that stuff hits the fan, or when your kids are screaming at a supermarket and you go, oh, all right, what am I going to do here? Or your hot water tank, you know, decides to not work for a whole entire week. And for a moment there, I go, oh my God, what am I going to do? How am I going to go without water for this long? Or hot water, not even water, hot water. I'm like, I have a small child that's very little. He is about 1.5 years. And I have an 11-year-old who's here. I'm like, mind us, we're adults, we'll figure it out. So I went into, okay, I have water, I have electricity, and I have gas. What can I do with that? I can boil water, and both my kids love baths. So switching that aspect of, okay, I have this problem, but what are the other things in my house that are working well? What can I be grateful that is going on in a bad situation, but now I'm looking for all the things that I can find that are better, that I'm still able to utilize, that I'm still able to make things work. And for a moment, my fiance would look at me and go, I can't believe how well you're going through this. Because I was washing dishes in a storage bin. I would boil hot water, I would throw all the dishes in there, and I would wash them, because guess what? No hot water means you can't run your dishwasher either, by the way. I mean, you could, but they're not so clean. So on this first day, since Sean has graced me with 3 days, I really want to hone in on blessings. How many of you do blessings? Do you write out blessings during the day or every day? Drop a 3 in the chat if this is something that you do. Awesome. I love that. Look at all these people that are doing blessings. So key, I love that you're being honest, Paul. I absolutely love that. The key to it is writing them out. Because what happens when you're sitting there and you have a pen and piece of paper in front of you, your brain will slow down. It will slow down and make you really think about what it is that you're writing and what it is that you're focusing on. When it comes to gratitude, being able to write out your blessings, there is a powerful word that goes along with writing out your blessings. Usually most people, including myself at the beginning, I would write out my blessings like this. I'm so grateful for my eyes. I'm so grateful for my family. I'm so grateful for the sun. And I would leave it that way. But what I found out diving deeper into gratitude and really studying how it works and the power of it, the word because, giving a meaning to your blessings, it is huge. I'm so grateful for water because I'm able to shower every day. Now you've given it more depth. You've given it a reason why you're grateful, and you have honed in on the aspect of, wow, I really have clean running water. That is a privilege. And it is a necessity. But can you go without it? Absolutely, because you'll figure it out. But what a blessing it is to just have water, period. So adding that because and giving that emphasis on why it is that you're grateful for something allows your brain to really process how grateful you truly are for something. Now, when it comes to writing out your blessings, going back to reread what you have written is also another key thing. When you go back and you reread what you have written, either you do it out loud or inside your head is fine. But going back to reread those changes the way you are feeling. It changes your state. Because when you go back and you read those blessings and you write out, I'm so grateful for my children because when I wake up in the morning and those smiles on their faces just lights up my morning. You go back and you reread that, there is something that happens inside of you. And I'm more than appreciated if Sean would chime in on this. I think it's dopamine that gets released. He can definitely.
Yes, dopamine.
So it's the happiness that gets released inside of you. Because you're going back and you're rereading, because as you're writing, you're not really thinking what you're writing. You're not thinking about what you're writing. You're not thinking about, okay, does this sound good? Did I write out the right sentence? So on and so forth. You're giving yourself time to go back and actually feel what you wrote. It will change your whole entire morning. On the second aspect of it, I definitely want to touch addiction to approval and gratitude. So the first thing was blessings. Writing out your blessings is key to start off your mornings, to ensure that you have put up those embers for all the BS, your belief system, and the other word, I love how Sean does that. And the other word you thought I was thinking of, it puts up those embers to block off the negativity. That if you didn't do them, and if you want to challenge me on this, I will challenge you back. Go out and write out your blessings for, I will say 7 days. 7 days. Write out your blessings every morning and then stop doing them. And send me a message and let me know how your mornings are going. I would love to hear back from you. So, addiction to approval and how the two of them work together. So, when you are in the state of gratitude, there is absolutely no feeling of dissatisfaction, discontentment, or disappointment. They don't live in the same house. You can't go and say, oh my God, I'm so grateful for me. And then go, oh, wow, I look ugly today. It doesn't work. When you're in the state of looking for things that you're grateful for about yourself, the negative aspect of it will not roll in. I'm not saying that it won't happen throughout the day, but it is a great tool that when you're able to look at yourself, and the reason I'm bringing yourself up, because the most important person is you. If you don't take care of you, you cannot take care of anybody else around you. A quick story. So right before this call, Miss Amber sends me a picture and goes, look at this picture. It was me and Sean at the retreat, and I was hugging him after our blowing up our limiting beliefs. And I go, oh my gosh, she goes, zoom in. And I zoomed in, not hearing what she said the first time to zoom in on Sean's face. I zoomed in on my legs and I was like, oh my God, that's cellulite. I'm like, I have cellulite on my legs. And immediately, here's what's so cool about this tool, about having gratitude and knowing how to use it, is I immediately went to, okay, Daniela. I said, but look at this beautiful moment, because she told me, zoom in on Sean's face. And I was able to shift that. It wasn't about my appearance. It wasn't about any of that. It was about the moment that she captured after I blew up my limiting beliefs of how proud he was. And the love that he had on his face. I will send you the photo, Christina. And it is those things that will eliminate of us sitting in gratitude. Because when we look at ourselves, oh, maybe my eyebrows, this one's not the same. They're not supposed to be the same. They're sisters. They're not twins. Appreciating the things that we take for granted daily will not only change the way you look at things. Favorite quote that Sean uses a lot is from Wayne Dyer, is change the way you look at things and the things around you will change. And the fastest way to change the way you look at things is through gratitude. And maybe there is somebody on here that is going, well, you know, writing out blessings every day, I don't know how I'm going to do that. Because if any of you have ever worked with me and have gone on the journey of gratitude with me, I ask you to do 10 blessings each day. 10 blessings, adding the word because. And I'm going to share an awesome quote with you guys, and it is by Buddha, and I am going to use my notes so I don't mess it up. So the quote is, to help you write out your blessings. The quote goes, let us rise up and be thankful. For if we didn't learn a lot today, at least we learned a little. And if we didn't learn a little, at least we didn't get sick. And if we got sick, at least we didn't die. So let us be thankful. If you are in that state where you go, oh, let us rise up and be thankful. For if we didn't learn a lot today, at least we learned.
They're typing it.
Oh.
So I'm watching Adrian's face. She go, okay, then they want to be thankful, and then we have to let it. So go ahead.
Okay, so I'll go back. Let us rise up and be thankful. For if we didn't learn a lot today, at least we learned a little. And if we didn't learn a little, at least we didn't get sick. And if we got sick, at least we didn't die. So let us all be thankful. And I'm going to end on this quote. I don't think Buddha could have said it better, or anybody else, to give you a way to look at, well, I didn't get this done, but what did I get done? So I love you all. Thank you for being here with me. I hope you got some value out of this. And Sean, thank you so much for allowing me to be here today. I truly appreciate you.
So I'm going to ask for Sienna and or Adrian's help. Stephanie is trying to get into the call. Maybe there's an invite you can give her or something. I'm not sure why she's having such a challenging issue, but if I could reach out and ask for your help to see if we can't assist that little giant to get into here, I would appreciate it. Thank you so much. So listen, this is what happens. So I want you all to pay attention. I want you to be aware that stuff happens, right? How many of you had other things planned other than this workshop, this virtual live event than today? How many of you could have been doing something else? You could have all been doing something else. The only reason this became a priority, and the reason it became a priority, is because there's a desire for you to want more in your life. And you're hoping between Amber and Daniela and myself that we might give you the golden pick and shovel for you to dig your own wealth. If you came here thinking that money's going to fall out of my pocket and into yours, ain't going to happen. You still have to convert all of this information. You've got to go do the work that Amber says. You got to go do the work that Daniela says. Writing your gratitude, Jim Rohn would say it this way: writing 10 blessings of gratitude every morning's easy to do. It's also easy not to do. So, how y'all feeling this morning? Did y'all learn something? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put us into a quick breakout rooms. And in these breakout rooms, I want you to tell the one thing you learned and one thing you liked. I want you to just, if this workshop ended right now, what would be the thing that you would take away? Stephanie! Woo! Poor thing. Talk about stress. Woo! Poor thing. I'm glad it worked out. Yeah. Oh, stress for you. You should have been the stress for me. So anyways, so I'm going to put you into breakout rooms. Some of you can bring Stephanie up to speed real quick. But so there's 17 of us, 15. I'm going to break it into rooms of 5, 3 rooms of 5. And I'm going to let you go have a conversation. And what I want you to do again is what's one of the things that you want to do that you took away from this? Is it and I want you to get real specific. If it's about crossing the corpus callosum, if it's about understanding how gratitude might work better for you, I want you to kind of cement it in. And the 2 things the breakout session is going to do. 1, it's going to put you into a teaching state. I want you to teach yourself. You don't need to teach everybody else. Don't start off with the conversation. Well, here's what I think everybody should do. There's a very powerful, strong man who I've been lucky enough to have added into my life, Doug Starr. And he said he would always be that we should do this. And at the workshop, the event that we just recently did here, he said, I'm going to stop the we and I'm going to focus on the me. So I really want you to, in this conversation, I really want you to stop focusing on the we. I want you to focus on the me. I want you to focus on you. So in this breakout session, I want you to, what's the one thing you learned, the biggest thing you learned so far, and the biggest thing you liked? It shouldn't take you more than a minute to go through that. So it's now top of the hour. It's top of the hour here, noon Central Standard Time. So we'll go for this for about 5 minutes, 6 minutes, and then I'll bring you back and we'll have some conversation, and then we'll go into more of addiction to approval and how to unlock the brilliant brain that's called the female brain on how to deal with addiction to approval. So I'm sending you off with love and joy. Here we go. And open the rooms, and you're going to have to click add yourself to the room, and we'll go there. Five minutes, 6 minutes. Alexa, start a timer for 5 minutes.
Sean, can you hear me?
I pushed the wrong button. I just left my group.
When I met you in the summer, to my heartbeat sound,
I'm back. I
we
heard you.
fell in
Press the wrong
love
button. Way to go there.
as the
Wally.
leaves turn brown.
Alexis.
And we could be together, baby, as long as skies are blue. You act so innocent now, but you lied so soon. When I met you in the summer,
everybody. Who wants to share something they learned? What was a aha? What was a bigger aha? What was a surprising aha that maybe you went, ooh, that's better than the one I had? Who had some? Go ahead, Daniela. Or was that just you're playing fish
No.
or something? You go.
No, I was just sharing with the group. I said I absolutely loved how much Amber's exercise calmed me down prior to the call. And it got my nerves down, and I was able to come out here, and you had the music going before you. What was the song playing? I don't even know what song was playing, but I was able to run back and forth on the deck. And it made me think of like the Tony Robbins when he goes, I jump on a trampoline before any event, and he starts his affirmations or affirmations before he gets on to speak. And as I was moving in the crossovers, I was like, this is awesome. That is one thing I took away and that I'm going to take with me for every time that I get on here or anywhere else to speak to calm my nerves down. That was incredible. So thank you.
You're welcome. And I'm going to go to somebody else. I want somebody else to go ahead and raise their hand, or just you can raise your hand. My point is that this is a tool that now sits in your toolbox. My bride talks about this all the time. One of the things that I make it mandatory for people who become a part of the presentation team, if you will, the ones who show up, is we can't give you something. It's a mandate that you got to give them something they can walk away with. I don't know if I'll ever get a chance to be with you again. I don't know if you'll ever invite me back into your home again. I'm coming into your homes, except for Jessie. I'm coming into her workplace, but I'm coming into your homes, and you have to decide whether you're going to invite me back or not. And the only way I know that I'll have a chance to come back into your homes, and this is something you may want to pay attention to when you're doing Zooms, when you're doing IG Lives, when you're doing Facebook Lives. When people click play, they are literally inviting you into their home. How many of you it just changed the way you look at a live that you're about to go do? They are inviting you into their home. So if you have 1,000 views, listen carefully. I want to help you with this addiction to approval. And this is truly one of the big things. Most people are afraid to do a live. If you had 1,000 views, how many people saw it? Listen carefully. I want you to pay attention to this, because this will be I hope it's a big shift. It was a big shift for me when the father of public speaking taught it to me. You got 1,000 views. How many people saw it? You're going to say, I don't know, maybe 600-700 different people saw it. Maybe some people played replay. Here's what I want you to pay attention to. One person saw it. One person saw it. You had 1,000 people who applauded it and watched it again, but only one person saw it. How many people can you speak to? One person. So only one person. Right now, there's 17, 18 of you on the call right now on the Zoom, on this virtual live event. I'm only speaking to one of you. It's the one who's listening. Can you speak to the person who's listening to you? We talk about your vibe creates your tribe. Tammy Thrasher Mitchell, a dear friend of mine, part of the Kyle Wilson Inner Circle. She says, my vibe creates my tribe. Too many of us are trying to speak to too many people. We can only speak to the person who's listening to us. And Adrian's got her little peanut of a gem of a queen goddess running around the house. I may show up in Adrian's ears and I may not, because when she turns away and says, yes, my love. Hola, mami. ¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué quieres? I am not in her ears. So part of this is being able to be present when they can be present with you. It's why when you do your lives, you may want to do them so that there's a terminology in marketing called evergreen. How long does your marketing last? How long does your messaging last? Do you make it very specific today? There's sometimes I'll say, hey, listen, I'm walking around the ranch today and it's Tuesday. Then I would ask the question that makes it evergreen. I wonder what Tuesday you're going to watch this on. Is it the Tuesday you've had the most fun in your life? Is it the Tuesday you've had the most struggle in your life? Heck, maybe your day is called Wednesday and you're watching this. So that's a whole nother conversation in public speaking and crossing over into the listener's ears versus the listener's eyes. So all that being said, so who else shared something? Who has another takeaway that they had from the breakout session? Who's got another takeaway from the breakout session? Who wants to share? Sure, go ahead, Amber. What'd you pick up?
I absolutely love that we can learn in the places that come after. So I'm here to learn from Sean. I'm here to learn from Daniela. I'm here to learn from my experience of presenting. Bonus time when Vicky shared. So Vicky shared in our group that she learned that through adversity of even getting on this call, if you don't leave, it happens. If you don't stop, you get where you want to go. So I absolutely love the breakout rooms and learning from everybody. That was my takeaway.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Go ahead, Paul. What'd you pick up today? What was a lesson learned or an idea or something you heard from somebody?
Well, there were two. The first one was the interaction with with Daniela talking about because I think about and I say my blessings out loud all the time, but I never write them down. And so that was kind of an aha moment for me. And then especially to write, to add because. I'm one of those guys, I try to avoid the because usually when I use the word because, it's because I want to give an excuse for why it didn't work or on the negative side. So that was really eye-opening for me to all of a sudden see, oh, wait a minute now, because in the right context can be very powerful. And so the specific thing that I'm going to do is I got a ton of empty blank journals that's sitting in a box in my closet. I'm going to take one of them out and it's going to become my blessings journal. And I'm going to start writing these things down. And the other thing was when you talked about the me, instead of how Doug talked about, instead of the we, make it about the me. Because typically I'm somewhere else at 12 o'clock noon. And I made the decision when I signed up for this course that I'm going to show up here because this is for me. And it's really interesting when you do something consistently and then you get a text saying, why aren't you here? So it's because I'm not there. I'm here. So that was another thing for me to set those things in my own life that I know I need and that I want to do, and instead of always just bowing down and doing what everybody else wants me to do.
Brilliant. Love it. Love it. Love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Hey, Sean.
Cool. Go ahead, Bob, and then we're going to go to Adrian.
So in the midst of the conversation, I've been out here struggling with my tractor and mower. And to give a quick recap, the mower broke because what someone did or didn't do. And as Daniela was talking about being grateful even when things aren't going so wonderful, it kind of shifted my brain. And in the midst of the conversation since then, I have repaired the malfunction with no lasting damage, and I'm ready to hook back up and start cutting again. So very grateful for that and grateful for that lesson to remind us.
This stuff doesn't work.
to look for the blessings and everything, even when things are not looking so good.
This is when we understand the shift is, instead of life happening to me, life happens for me. So here's the lesson you get to teach as the trainer and the coach. Even after 30 years of teaching and training people, even after 40 years of being a coach and helping people unlock their potential. I was today years old when I could fix my mower and my tractor simply by listening to a friend of mine. What if all of a
Amen.
sudden we all became friends of those around us, that the words we said literally repaired the thing to cut down fear and doubt? For you, it's a mower cutting down grass. But the horsepower that it needs to make all of that happen works inside of the tractor. So turning on the key, bringing the mower and the brush hog and getting it going. Maybe you've done this 1,001 times, and all too often, here's the thing. Everybody do me a favor. Raise your right hand. We're not taking an oath. Nobody's taking an oath. Just raise your right hand, lean forward a little bit, and pat yourself on the back. Joseph McClendon III says, all too often, we don't recognize ourselves for the times we've listened to help our friends fix their mower. You may call it something different. So thank you, Bob, for this lesson.
Thank you, my friend. Take care. God bless.
Love it, love it, love it. Let's go to Adrian, first time caller, long time listener, first time caller.
Hello. So my big takeaways, I really loved adding the word because after blessings and even gratitude. I'm big on trying to be in the moment, in the feeling, and keeping myself in that grateful state of mind. And then also the quote that she had, I wanted to get it perfect because I really love having quotes and deciphering and like depicting them, and just like gratitude after gratitude after gratitude after gratitude. Like that was a beautiful concept. And even right now with the like speaking on Zoom calls, live calls, I'll look at it and you see people who like and things. And I just talked to my sister about it after I did an IG live last week. And I was like, I wonder how many people really hear it. You're seeing it, but are you like listening to it? Are they hearing it? Am I, even if it's just one person, to be able to impact and like broaden their horizon, it's just a beautiful concept to me. So I was like, I just want to, meet that one person. And she's like, you're so silly. And I was like, I know. And I was like, but I want to be in that person's like vicinity as they're hearing just the words that are coming out from my experience. So I felt like all of those things are really powerful.
I love it. So ready to take it to the next level?
Oh, yeah.
When you do your lives, part of it is give it that pause and just literally pause, because what Amber was teaching us earlier about the pattern interrupt, when she said, what time is it? She said, that's the pattern interrupt. And then when we break the pattern of where they're at, see, here's the thing. How many of you, listen, be honest with myself, be honest with yourself. Drop an L in the chat if you've ever looked at the likes that you got on a video. Drop an L in the chat. Here's my question for you. Do you realize that you're addicted to likes? You're addicted to approval, and the approval is based upon how many likes you got. How many of you gotten crazy views but no likes or minimal likes? So was your message not good? If you had all the views but you had no likes? Are we not addicting? Are we not wiring ourselves to addiction to approval through social media? Just saying, just saying. So how do we deal with that? We set up an idea that part of the addiction of why people don't do videos is because they're afraid they're already in comparison. How many of you have already watched somebody's video and said, well, I'm going to do, they do it so much better than me. So here's my question to you. Can they do you better than you? See, if they can't do you better than you, why don't you just give us you? Listen, you're not getting me. You're not getting Jim Rohn here. You're not getting Tony Robbins here. You're not getting Dean Graciosi. You're not getting uh, 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 Jamie Lynn Kerma. You're not getting Kerma. You're getting me, Sean, the farm boy from Ohio, 0.9 grade point average, 5-time #1 best-selling author. 0.9 grade point average, 5-time best-selling author. How does that even go together? I don't know. I don't know, but it just happens. You're getting me. Gizmo Keeper, absolutely. And so what I really want to do is I'm going to ask a tough question to both Amber and to Daniela, which is going to make them feel the neuro encoding going on right now is going, okay, let me get closer to the screen here. So Amber, you've done what you've done for 30 years. You've had this conversation. The syntax that you put this in, there was a little bit, you told the story about this amazing soul that had been being asked to come onto a training, to come onto a virtual live event. And there was some addiction. There was some approval needed. I wanted to do well. I wanted to do good. Drop a G in the chat if any of you ever want to do good in life. So now that part's over, first one's done. What did you learn? What did you like from that? What was the addiction that you had that may not show up for tomorrow's? It may be a different one. But when you start off tomorrow's call, hopefully inviting everybody back, you do tomorrow's call, what's going to be different about tomorrow's call that's different than today's call? And I'm not talking about technique and all of that. I'm just talking about the feeling, the state.
One thing I learned is, I love how Daniela said that she had a plan of what she was going to tell us. And then she was sitting there and decided to give it to us raw. I have an outline. I kind of have a whole 9-week course out of all the work I was putting in for these 15 minutes, because I wanted everyone to, here's the thing, I thought I wanted everyone to walk away with enough value. What I just realized is that I wanted you all to like me. Ooh, there's even emotion there. Wow.
Okay,
So-
y'all put some hearts for that. This is what happens when we do. This is why we have to be at events. This is why we have to do events. Because Amber and I talked about this, and Amber and Daniela talked about this, and everybody, way to cement that in, Daniela.
Thank you.
I wrote at the top, I love you. I don't like you.
Oh, okay.
That's what I meant.
Oh.
Read the top, Sean.
My point is that I'm going to ask every one of you to go do an event, not just a live. Go do an event. Go do a 2-hour event. You don't have to make it 6 hours. You don't have to be insane like me. You don't have to go after this 6-hour, after this 3-day, 2 hours a day, go to a 24-hour training that's still free. How many of you would like to come to 24 hours with Sean? 3 days, 6-8 hours a day of me absolutely unlocking the rest of this. This is just the teaser. This is for you to say, oh my God, the appetizer's good. I wonder what the main course is. Some of you may be going, this is dessert. This is dessert. This is good. I'll come back I wonder what the main course is, because this is just dessert or this appetizers. So thank you for sharing that, Amber. So now the question is so do you think people like you? Is that register? Is that a need? Because I know the answer is yes, we all like you. We love what you trained us on.
Well, and going further though, how much does it need to matter if you do? And you can go in different directions from that. Can I still bring value and someone not like me? Oh, wow. Oh, I'm talking a big game, but wow, inside me, there are some things still going on.
So here's the question. What happens when all of a sudden we have our state in place and we know the value we give is likable? Their role in our play might just be the person who doesn't like what we do, no matter what we do. Don't we all need the villain in the movie? Otherwise, we'd be watching Disney. Even Disney has a villain, right? So doesn't it make sense that we have villains in our life, in our shows? And I'm sure there's somebody on here going, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, but they won't leave. They want to see how dumb I can go. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I want to see if I can take them down the ditch, but we'll figure it out. So anything else that's popped up with that swallow you just had that you'd like to share?
So I went into my crossover state, decided to practice what I preach, and my breathing changed and my vision got clear. So it's okay. It's okay. Oh boy, I'm going to say this out loud because I like me. Okay, I'm going to practice that one.
Y'all say that. Y'all say that. I like me.
I like me.
Y'all say it. Say it. Say it so that you feel it. Say it so that it resonates. Do this. Let's clear the vagus nerve. Big breath in, and on the exhale, go. And then say, I like me. You know what? I like me. I love me. Bob Proctor, I asked him one time, I go, how could, Bob, this is all BS. My house was just destroyed in 2004. With the hurricanes came, Mason's a baby. I'm working in my truck because that's the only place there's power and air conditioning in Florida in August. Are you kidding me? And I said, Bob, you don't know what I'm going through. He says, well, you don't like you. I go, what do you mean I don't like me? I go, I'm sweating my butt off. My house is destroyed. I don't got a rental. He goes, you don't like you. I go, do you like you? He goes, like me. He goes, I love me. And I could hear him over the phone because we didn't have Zoom then, right? I go, what are you doing? He goes, I'm kissing myself. I love me. Like, you're a nut job. He goes, you're right. I'm rich. Let's move on. So fall in love with yourself right now. Fall in love with yourself. Literally do the crossover and go, ooh, I love me. I love me. Ooh, I love me. Say it. I love me. Say it. You got to hear it. I love me. Because when you're resonating, when your inner ear resonates and hears that, it literally sends the dopamine Daniela was talking about. Daniela, what was your takeaway? What'd you learn? What'd you like from doing this? I thought it was going to skip me.
How much control we really do have over our bodies just by learning to use a tool that can bring you back in. The crossover for me was done deal. That really, as much as I sat there and tried to convince myself to calm down, it's like when Tony Robbins goes, oh, are you happy? And you go, yeah, well, tell your face you're happy. Well, that's what I was going through. Are you nervous? No. Well, you need to tell your body that you're not nervous. And going through that process with her really helped me a lot. So that was my learn and my like.
Cool. I love it. And so why do I ask them to share that? Because there's a lot of strong, powerful women who are on here with us. And many of you might struggle it. And it doesn't work so well coming out of this male voice box. So when you hear it from the female voice, it resonates at a different frequency. So that's why I wanted that to be shared. All right, so let's dive in. So shake yourself out, shake yourself out, shake yourself out. Bring some energy in, reach out, stack some energy in you. Reach out and stack some good things in. Just reach out and stack it in. Reach out and stack it in. Put it on your heart. Reach out, stack it, put it on your heart. Reach out and grab that big 6-figure income. Reach out and grab the joy. Reach out and grab the life. Reach out and grab the new home. Feel that. Feel that energy in your body. You brought that in. These are tools you have to use all the time. The crossover, the reach out, to change your state. Yeah, I'm not sure why the big challenge of getting in. I was on with the chat folks over at Avio, and I don't know why. So anyways, you're here. I'm not sure why the challenge, but let's keep going. So now, addiction to approval. You've had some breakthroughs. What's one thing that you have to go do in the next 24 hours? between now and tomorrow, you have to go do something that is going to trigger an addiction in you. It could be to go do a live. It could be to go do a follow-up. It could be to go write a business plan. It could be to write an apology letter. It could be, there's something that you are wanting to procrastinate on. Ask yourself, in this procrastination, are you being addicted to the outcome? Are you addicted to the outcome? Are you wanting the outcome to be one specific way? And I want you to share with me what that thing is that you're addicted to. You can type it in the chat. You can just unmute and shout, because I want to give you a tool that you can begin to use in the next 24 hours to make this an easier process. Because if the things that you struggle with got easier, would life get better? If the things that you struggled with, there's something that you need to, that you're going to be struggling with in the next 24 hours. It could be a big thing. It could be a little thing, but little things turn into big things. So my question is what's the thing you need to go do that you're hoping goes away, that you're hoping you don't have to do? You're wishing it would just go away. This is one of the things that's an addiction to approval. Is it you working out? Is it you going to buy a new shirt? Is it you getting new shoes? Is it you getting, is it you doing a live? Is it you inviting somebody to join you? If you need some help on how to invite somebody to come do a live with you, ask Michael, ask Sienna, ask Michael and Sienna. They did it together, right? My point is that there's something you need to go do to put yourself out there, because there's no rich hermits. You're not going to get rich by staying by yourself, by being a secret. Some of you are the best kept secret on the planet. I'm going to raise my hand. I'm one of those. That's why I started doing challenges. Here's the challenge. When we start to go do these things, when we start to go have these, Bakumi. Okay, so Bakumi, what happens if all of a sudden that takes place? What happens if you do a Facebook Live? Here's the question. So I'm going to walk you through this. So what happens if you do whatever it is you're fearful of? The majority of the time is that you're going to be found out. How many of you are afraid of being found out? How many of you have put a presence? How many of you think there's a version of you out there that exists that you have to live up to? How many of you think there's a version out there that you have to live up to? Listen, the way I show up, me just being able to walk and chew gum makes people think I'm a miracle child. Because there's not an impression of me out there that I'm better than who I am. There's not an impression of me out there that's better than who I am. Why? Because I choose to live who I am all the time. Some of you know me on these calls. You see me with hats on all the time, right? Drop an H in the chat if you've always seen me with a hat on. Some of you are going, oh my God, what's wrong with his head? What's wrong with his head? He doesn't look like him. Well, I have stuff called hair gel. Somebody told me something about hair gel, and I can put hair gel in my hair and it stays back and it looks good. Other than that, it's farm stuff, and I got a hat. I have a whole wall of hats because I don't want to have to mess with my hair. But for this, I do it for the recording. So my point is that what's the version of you that's out there that you've made bigger than it really is? Does that make sense? So I want you to show up for you. If you showed up for you, who wins? Listen carefully. If you showed up for you, who wins? You win. If nobody's sleeping in your house, I want you to say, I win. There you go, Adrian. I saw it. I saw this. I win. No, did you win? I win. Say it. I win. There you go. See, this is about the physiology. This is about the physiology. This is what just happened. You've got, listen, how many lungs do you have? Unless you're from another planet, we all have 2 lungs. And where are they located? Front and back or left and right? Left and right. Didn't we just cross the corpus callosum, this line down the center of our body when we breathe in and we get loud? I win. Say it again. I win. I'm watching you. There you go. There you go. See the smile on Adrian's face? How many of us could bottle that? If we could bottle that up. So Sabrina's wondering what you want. I was thinking, who is Sabrina? And then I had to see it was Doug. That's his puppy. Sabrina's saying like, yeah, you want a hug from me, you big lucky son of a gun. So here's addiction to approval. Is when we think we're okay. None of you are okay. You're a miracle. Say I'm a miracle. You don't have to scream it. Just say I'm a miracle. Do you realize that? Here's the thing that we heard. How many of you listen carefully? And this is going back to addiction to approval. This is all tied in. I'll put a bow on this here in just a minute. How many of you have heard that maybe it's the fastest sperm that gets to the egg that wins? Right? You were the fastest swimmer. You want to hear a secret that science has revealed to us recently? The egg decides who gets in. The female decides who gets in. The female decides who gets in. Now, the other thing is that, do you realize we were all started out as a fetus, as a female? And there's a flood of adrenaline that happens inside a mom that forces, then that switches it from the female to the male. So do you realize, guys, we're literally an afterthought? We're literally an afterthought. Dalai Lama said this: the world will be saved by the Western woman. If it wasn't for some stress in your life, us guys with a dear friend of mine, Rhonda Bird Parker, says, with the handy dandy hangy downy thingy, wouldn't exist. So this addiction to approval starts from a very early age. It starts with the programming. How many of you ever brought your parent a weed and said, here's a flower for you, mommy. I picked a flower for you. How many of you are moms recently got a weed going, oh, isn't that nice? Oh, okay. And they brought you a dandelion. How many, anybody bring you a dandelion going, oh my God, they're going to, and then they blow on it. And in the house go all of the seeds. I did that when I was little. And I said, mommy, look, here's a flower for you. She goes, oh, take that outside. And I went, look at all of the flowers I got you. And they went everywhere. And she wasn't quite so happy. So this addiction to approval starts, we seek the approval for survival. The need for approval is part of our survival. And for ladies, it's even more, I don't want to say it's worse. I will say it's stronger for you. If we're the hunter gatherers, oh, me go get food, oh, you stay here, rah, and off we go. And you have this little child and you're in this community and with other women, there's a part of you that says, I have to learn how to get along with these other women so I can have 5 minutes to myself. If I need to go hunt berries for my child, I'm not going to take them out into the wild and be eaten by the saber-toothed tiger. I'm going to leave them here. So there's an addiction that you have that's even deeper woven into the subconscious brain of yours that says, I have to fit in. I never fit in. I really didn't. So this idea of needing to fit in was a little bit bigger desire for me because I was either taller than most people. I grew up on a farm and most people didn't know what it was to live on a farm where I went to school. Yeah, you name it. I didn't fit in. The way I fit in is humor. And I spoke to people older than the community that I was involved in. So when I was in high school, I ran the faculty basketball team because I got approval from them because I spoke at their name. I spoke at their age. I spoke at their level of intelligence. So I didn't fit in. What does social media force us to do? Fit in. What does network marketing force us to do? Fit in. When all we're wanting to do is stand out and support. It's hard to be of service when you need to fit in. Does that make sense? I want you to understand why we get stuck sometimes. It's hard to be of service when we try to fit in. If everybody's trying to serve everybody, who's receiving? Nobody's receiving. So if we can't receive, then what happens? What happens to our addiction to approval? If I'm in a community with Daniela and I want to help her and I want to help her and I want to help her and I want to help her, and she's trying to help me, and I'm going, no, I don't need any help. I'm okay. I want to help you. And she's like, I don't need your help. You guys want to help you. Nobody's receiving. Part of our addiction is that we're told we're less than if we receive the joy others have for us. How many of you would rather give than receive? Drop a G in the chat if you would rather give than receive. You know how hard that makes us for us that want to give as well? So one of the first addictions you can do that will serve you better is to learn these two words. Let's see if you know them. Maybe you've heard of them before. It's not often that you really say them. You've said them, but that's not often that you really say them. And these two words will change everything about your life. Thank you. Let me see if you can say it. Let me see your mouth move. Thank you. See, I received that thank you. And here's the words that you're going to need to really pay attention to. You're welcome. How many of you want to give and not receive and not say the back, you're welcome? Y'all say you're welcome. Let me see if you can say it. You're welcome. How many of you did it feel funny? Really raise your hand. If it felt funny saying you're welcome, we're just talking to a screen. You're welcome. Oh my, like Fonzie, I'm going to date myself, where he went to go, thank you. You're welcome. Say it again. You're welcome. I'll say, listen, I want to say this to each one of you, to everyone that's here. Thank you for showing up. Do you know how, amazing this makes me feel? Now, some of you know I do this on my own. I'd be talking to myself. I would do the live myself and I would have the recording and I would make up stories of where everybody's at and everything else. Because if I say I'm going to go do something, I'll do it, even if nobody shows, because the only one that needs to show up is me. So when you just said thank you, I will say, you're welcome. You are welcome that I get to have you here. I get to have you here. So I am so filled with welcome. And I want my welcome to be your welcome. So thank you. So that's number one. If everybody wants to give, it's going to be hard to receive. What if all of a sudden you became the recipient of all the things you wanted in your life? Do you realize, listen, here's where the addiction to approval starts to really burn your butt, is if you can't receive from me, from others, what do you think's happening to your dreams when they show up? Your dreams are knocking on the door going, we're here. And we're like, no. I don't need it. You don't know. I'm not good at receiving. You want to know why your dreams are hanging out down at the corner of maybe and sometime? It's because you're not ready to receive. We're given all of these little tests to receive from others. How many of you said, listen, how many of you have said in the last week, you didn't have to do that? Drop a 1 in the chat. You didn't have to do that. Guess what happens if you tell me I didn't have to do that? You know what I hear subconsciously? Let me put another checkbox in the place that says I'm not good enough. Well, I didn't mean it like that. It's not what you meant. It's not what you meant. It's what I hear. This is when you understand human nature. It's never what you say. It's not what the story I say to myself when you say whatever you say. How many of you have talked to people and you're having a conversation and they seem like they're totally engaged, and all of a sudden they go, wait, what did you say? Like, we just talked for 10 minutes. We just talked for 10 minutes. What do you mean? What did I say? I'm sorry. I was off in Neverland. When somebody does something for you, say, that's got to be one of the kindest things anybody's ever said to me, done for me. I don't know if you know how special that makes me feel. Thank you. Say these words right where you're sitting. I don't know if you know how special that makes me feel. Thank you. Get out of my room. Go away. Get out of my room. I love it. Somebody was opening Michael's door and it was like, ooh, cousin Ed is here. So how does that feel, saying, hey, listen, that's got to be one of the nicest things somebody's ever said, done, or been for me. Thank you. Can you imagine what that will do for somebody? Adrian, when your little mama comes by and she says, Mommy, I love you, say, can I just tell you, baby, thank you for that? Because we respond back, oh, Mommy loves you too. Ay, te quiero. Nunca tu compra mi nada, Mommy, te quiero. So when they say something to you, say, that's got to be the nicest I love you I've heard in a while. You want to know what that will do to her psyche? Can you imagine what that would do when somebody says, I love you? It's got to be the nicest thing anybody's ever said to me in the last hour. You may giggle. How many of you have ever had a beer and go, this is the best beer I've ever had today? Right? We just got to learn to tell our best truth. I love you all. Practice this. I'm going to say I love you, and I want you to say to yourself, that's one of the nicest things anybody said to me in the last 30 seconds. I love you. Doesn't it feel weird? Do you know what's happening right now? So what's happening right now? So somebody tell me where you feel that in your body. There's a discomfort running in your body. Where do you feel it? You can unmute and just say it. So Paul sees it in his shoulders. Somebody said belly button. That's the sacral chakra. That's the emotional chakra, eyes and heart. So that's the third eye. That's about seeing vision, and heart is the love. So what you've just told me, stomach is your second brain. So Adrian, what you're telling me is that there's some moment in your past history where people see you for something other than who you are, and you wish they didn't, and your heart's been hurt once or twice in your life. And just simply by hearing these, we all of a sudden reveal who we are to somebody who can understand this language. And if you watch, I'm going to do this again. Just watch the screen. Hey, listen, everybody, I just wanted to say to you, I love you. And I really mean that. You mean the world to me, because I only have this moment. If God took me away right now, this has got to be one of the best moments of my life. And I would just want to say thank you. And I'm not like a good actor putting on these tears. I just want you to look at the screens. I want you to see what's happening. This is what happens inside of all of our communities. So this addiction to approval is not always the approval of what they think. It's the approval of what we think. And we're thinking of a story that they might be saying. What if we just stayed focused on the story that we tell ourselves? Listen, this is the best you're getting from me. I promise I'll get better, but this is the best I got. There's no reason for me to hold anything back. You're getting the best of me right now. Some of you are going, well, if this is your best, well, then I'll probably see you next Thursday of never. And some of you might be saying, if this is his best and he's going to get better, I got to show up tomorrow to see what he's going to say tomorrow. Because there's no script for this. There's no script for this. I'm following what Amber is doing, and I'm following what Daniela is doing. It's from our heart. Oh, well, I got notes. I got bullet points. Otherwise, we would literally be here till midnight. But that's on another training. So overcoming addiction to approval. We have to realize, what's the first thing that every person who has an addiction has to admit? That you got it. So you have to decide, have I become aware? So have you become aware of how deep this addiction runs? Drop a D in the chat. If you realize how deep this addiction runs into everything and every step of our life. So now, if it runs everywhere, the way that we break the addiction is to fall in love with it. Because when we fall in love with it, I've never had to stand up and say, hi, my name's Sean Murphy and I've been sober for a week. I've never had the honor or the privilege or the despair to have to say something like that. But what I will say is that I'm an addict of approval. And I've been working on it for 55 years. I'm 58. My addiction started about 3 years old when I became aware and conscious of the need to do things for the love of my mother. I'm still working on it. It runs in every step and in every breath. How have I worked on it? I'm telling you what I've done. I don't know if it's psychologically proven or accepted or psychology says this. All I know is that I've gotten better. And I want you to experience better. So first thing is we admit it. I'm aware of this addiction to approval, and it's in everything that I do, from the clothes I wear, the shoes I buy, the food I eat. How many of you eat food? How many of you make food when friends come over that's not your favorite, but they like it? How many of you, and you're like, oh, I got to make, and they want you to make the recipe. Like, I don't even like to make it. How many of you make food that your family likes that you don't even eat? Paella. Paella in Puerto Rico. So I lived in Puerto Rico for 7 years. Paella is one of those dishes. It takes like all day to make it. And I had this very dear friend who would make paella, and because they can't make it. I don't know why paella, you can't make it for 2. You have to make it for like 20. So they make it in this big thing, and it's pie. And I'm like, why don't you eat any? I don't like it. I go, why do you make it then? Well, because you like it. So I'm going to start to ask you over the course of the next 24 hours as we wrap this up. Just become aware. Don't shift anything. Don't have an argument with anybody. Go, you trigger my addiction to approval. How many of you got that thing loaded and locked? You trigger my addiction to approval and you're ready to shoot somebody with it. I would encourage you not to do that. At least not yet, right? Because we don't want to wound them. Wounding the person who triggers our addiction, not a good thing. It'll really spiral out of control quick. But I just want you to become aware of it. I want you to look at how many things you do. How many of you have the silverware in your kitchen in a certain way because that's the way you grew up with it? How many of you have it because it was on the left side of the stove? It's on the left side of the stove, and because it doesn't necessarily fit. Wouldn't it be easier if we put it on the right? No, that's where I want it. That's where it's been. How many of you put the condiments in your refrigerator in the exact same spot every time? Now, I understand there's organization, but I want you to move some things around. Here's a crazy thing. What if you left how many of you have your silverware in little trays inside of the thing, right? They're a little organized in their trays. You got the silverware drawer. I want you to just take the silverware and the forks and watch how fast this happens. Take the forks and just pick them up, leave them in the same drawer and turn them around, put the tines out. Yeah, look at that. How many of you just freaked out? Just turn the knives around, man, because well, somebody's gonna get poked. Oh my gosh, are you kidding? Then they shouldn't be using a fork at all. Just turn the butter knives around. If you have one for, don't turn the sharp knives around. Just turn the butter knives around. Because literally, what I would ask you to do when you go to sleep is to put your head at the foot of the pillow. Put your head where your feet go and go to rest. Some of you are breaking out in a sweat right now. That's called neuroencoding. This is how bad the addiction to approval runs. I have habitual actions, and if I don't do these habitual actions, how many of you are going to brush your teeth tonight before you go to bed? Brush it with your opposite hand. Here's what will happen is now I'm never going to get out of your head. Oh my God, Sean said to do this opposite. Jeez. Oh my God. How am I supposed to do it? Now I'm supposed to sleep at the foot of the bed. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try it. I don't even, oh my God. I can't even go to sleep. Oh my God. Welcome to addiction to approval. I'm not even in your house and you're arguing with me. Yeah, Daniela type getting out of the shower will never be the same. Just dry yourself off differently. How many of you have a routine when you dry off? This addiction to approval, the first thing we need to control, if you've ever heard Tony Robbins talk about the cold plunge, he does the cold plunge every morning. Not because I want to put my body in stress, although I do. I do it so that when I tell my body move, it moves. If I tell my body go make a prospect call, it makes a prospect call because I got to pick up the phone. I got to hit some numbers. I got to remember what I'm going to go say. If I don't, it's my body running my brain. I need my brain to run my body. And then the next level of that is when your heart runs your body. It's the way a mother can hold the cheeks of their child while they're crying, and instantly a kiss from their lips heals everything. Hey, there's no way your kiss healed a boo-boo. Are you kidding me? It's the state you brought to the conversation. There's going to be a lot of people you're going to meet who are addicted, listen carefully, to their pain. And you're trying to tell them, don't be in pain anymore. Isn't that what your compensation plan does? Don't be in pain anymore. Make lots of money. But how am I supposed to tell everybody I'm no longer in pain? See, we don't help them with the story. We're forcing strategy upon them that triggers their addiction, that's even bigger, and forces it to become more resistant. How many times does the person you know really need what it is you have to offer? And the more you talk about the benefits of it, they become more and more resistant. It's because you're triggering their addiction to approval. And then you leave the meeting. How many of you drop a 1 in the chat if you've ever said this? I don't know why they don't get it. Because they couldn't hear it. Because you were forcing them into their addiction of approval of their old story. So, homework, success work for today. Y'all practice this. Let's see if you can remember. Take your hands, cross them over. Do that, right? So there's one, right? The other thing is do the crossovers, the cross crawls, knee up, crossover. You don't have to get up. You can do it right where you're sitting. Eyes left, eyes right. Why do they do that, Amber? Because I almost fell over. So tell us why they do that. Eyes left, eyes right.
So you're including the left hemisphere of the brain and the right hemisphere of the brain. So look up and to the left, up and to the right while you're doing your cross crawls.
So with 30 years experience in wellness and human potential, question for you. Is it possible that anybody might experience a detoxification after this call?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Such a good intro into why they should come back tomorrow, because that's what I'm going to be talking about.
So what are some of the things that they might experience that tomorrow you'll give them some additional solutions for?
Well, they could experience a little upset in their stomach, maybe a headache, I would love for everyone's awareness to be on any new discomfort in their body. So a headache, where it is. Your head is a big area. When someone says headache, where is it? Sleeping really well tonight, not sleeping well tonight. Those are the 4 things I would look for.
So pay attention to those, because what happens is we go through life and we go, no, I didn't really experience that much. You experienced a lot. It's just that maybe you were used to those patterns and they started to play. Because how many of you know that every time you do something good for yourself, you're waiting for the shoe to drop? Oh my gosh, that was such an amazing event. I wonder what's going to go wrong. How many of you have ever said that? This is so incredible. I wonder what's going to go wrong. And then it goes wrong. And you're like, well, it's pretty much normal. Situation normal, right? FUBAR. I think that's the name of a shirt, isn't it? Isn't that? So yes, pay attention to that. Daniela, what would you suggest for people, some of their success work for gratitude?
Sorry, I couldn't unmute. To do their blessings, add the because, go back and reread your blessings. And then at the end of each blessings, say thank you 3 times.
So what happens? So what happens when they get triggered and they're on blessing number 3 and they're saying, oh my God, I don't have time for this.
I'm sorry.
And they get to blessing number 3, they're writing it out and they're doing the because and the thank you. And I ain't got time for this.
How do you say it to me? Jim Rome would say that's a clue. So either you do it.
Yeah, if you don't have time for it, push through and make the time, because that's, you know that you're at a breakthrough.
Yep.
And then I would invite you to come back tomorrow as we dive into some of the neural patterns that exist as it relates to addiction to approval. And we're going to also include some mental toughness. We're going to include some neuro encoding. We're going to include some visualization and some meditation. And yeah, 2 hours goes pretty quick. It's why I'm excited about the 6-hour, 7-hour days of us dealing with addiction to approval and how we can recognize it. Well, here's the thing. How many of you, drop a 1 in the chat if you now think, based upon what you've experienced and felt today, what would be the percentage of the people that are around you that you think are now addicted to approval? What percentage of people do you think have some form of addiction to approval around you? Yeah, 199. So wouldn't it be cool now to not trigger their addiction to approval? What if all of a sudden you could learn to have a conversation with them that pushes them to the edge? And some of them might just be, hello. I wonder why they said that. How many of you have heard somebody go, hello? And you're like, what do you want? What do you want from me? What's this asshole? What do they want? What do they, somebody's nice to you on Facebook and they're like, no, I'm married. Good Lord. I just said, great video. The hell? Right? But there, a lot of times the intention is more than just a thank you.
It's like when somebody tells you to have a good day, don't tell me what to do.
Yeah, don't put that pressure on me. I had a good day yesterday. You have no idea the stress I was under all day. Oh my gosh. So just become aware. And what I really want to help you do is, as you learn your addiction to approval. Oh, yeah, Daniela, respond to that, please. Great question, Roz. Thank you.
That was amazing. Thank you, Roz. Yes, it matters when you do your blessings as early as possible in the morning. You want to make sure that you set off. What am I talking about? Set up your day strong. That's why you want to do it as early as possible. Preferably, when you're drinking your morning coffee before you go into your day.
And tomorrow we'll show you how to bookend your day so that in the morning it starts off in gratitude, and the end it starts off and it ends in gratitude and sets you up for a good night's sleep. So, any other questions, comments? Anybody other big ahas, bonus times? Anybody want to share anything? What'd you learn? What'd you like? What's your bigger takeaway? I thought it was this, then it was this, then it was this, then it was this. Oh my gosh.
Sean, I thought it was just the writing of blessings, but when Daniela said to read them and then say thank you 3 times after each one.
So I'll put this into your skull caps as well. When you say thank you, I would encourage you to say it 3 different ways. Say the first one, thank you. Say the second one, thank you. Say the third one, thank you. And literally what that's going to do is activate the 3 different parts of the brain to operate in harmony that would allow them to believe the blessing is true because of the because. And 3 is the number of creation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Who else? Takeaway, big takeaway, aha, thank you, whatever. Go ahead, Danielle. Did you have?
So you gave me a huge aha when you were talking about when you were a child or when you were younger and you didn't fit in and certain things you did. I go, oh my God. I understood why I chose to dress the way that I did. I understood why I would put on the facial expressions that I did. And you hit me right between my eyes with that. I go, oh my God, I'm still doing it now. Because I didn't, I didn't look like most girls looked like in 6th grade. I had things that they didn't even have by the time they got to high school. So I go, oh my God, even you, I don't even know where to begin with this, because even when we go out and Kevin's like, why don't you wear this? And I go, well, it's a little too revealing and, I'm not really feeling myself in that. And it has nothing to do with being too revealing or feeling myself, because I think I look amazing in it. But the fact that I would feel that I'm showing off more than I should be, in sense of how would somebody else feel instead of how I'm feeling. So thank you for that. That was the last thing I thought would be an aha moment for me.
Well, one of the things is how many of us have ever been, because this is why we're all here. We're all misfits. Not fitting in was the only way we could fit in. Being talked about was the only way we could have a conversation. So I would go to school with rubber boots on. How many of you would want to wear the big farmer rubber boots to school? Sometimes I'd go to school with them, just so that. So, anyone else? Any last thoughts, comments? Bye, Amber. Thank you. All right. So here's what we're doing. Do some of the success work that we've had. Start to just become aware of the addictions. Become aware of the addictions that happen. Become aware of the conversations, and see how all of a sudden things start to change for you. And then decide that today's going to be the day that it all changes. Write down today's time right now. Write down today's time. 5, 5, 1, 10, 10. And know that the legend inside of you is never going to die. We're awakening right now. I love you all. And we will see you tomorrow on your head brain scrambling. Where?
At the next event.
Legends never die. They're written down in eternity. But you'll never see the price it cost. The scars collected all of their lives. When everything's lost.